Hi, I'm Mindy Turner with the Curry County Cooperative Extension Service, your family and consumer science agent. We are starting off a brand new series today. We are going to talk a little bit about how you can preserve some of your memories. Now, we've seen over the last several years some big waves in scrapbooking, everything from how to digitally do it to doing it actually the hands-on paper type. And so we're going to look a little bit at some of the ways, fun things that you can do to preserve memories and share those things as gifts with family and friends. We know that keeping those memories alive and being able to go back to happy times and things that we really enjoyed can be good for our mental health, as well as just keeping ourselves busy and keeping our minds going. So having a project, something that we can work on. So we're going to look across this series at some of the basic things. We're going to take some information from one of our New Mexico 4-H projects that works with scrapbooking and a little from our digital storytelling book, because those projects are research-based publications that are written to basically educate. So we're going to use a lot of that information over the next few weeks. So what I want to talk to you about today, we are going to talk about, this is a great upcycling project that you can put together. They make wonderful gifts. They make a great way to kind of keep things together and, like I said, preserve those memories that we find so important. So let's get started. We are going to cover an album today. And so all you need to do this is a 3-ring binder, whatever one you have. You can see we pulled some just out of the cabinet that had been recycled, put back in from other things. This one has where tape was stuck to it. You can see sometimes the printing comes off on it. None of that is going to matter. So this is a great way to reuse some of those notebooks that you don't want to use for something else because they just don't look real great, because we're going to cover that up. You can see this one's red. Because of the fabric I chose, I switched to a different one. But so that's going to be the kind of things that you're going to want to consider. But you're going to use up what you have. Most of us have a 3-ring binder just stuck up somewhere that the kids used to use for school, or maybe we used to keep notes for a committee or a club or something that we were in that we don't do anymore. So that's a great thing that we can recycle to do. So then you're just going to need some fabric. I picked this really great, it's kind of a knit. I don't know if you can see all of the pattern in it. More of a linen type fabric, just because I liked this neutral color. I thought that would be kind of fun. And then I can do whatever I want to embellish or decorate it. And then some poster board. I had black poster board on hand. So that's what I used, because that's what I had. So whatever kind of poster board, or if you have a lightweight cardboard, would work for this too. A heavier cardstock. Again, we're trying to think about things that you don't have to just run out and buy a whole bunch of new things to put this project together. So think about what you have on hand to do that. So just to give you kind of an example of what we're talking about, these are some that my kiddos made a long time ago. I didn't realize how long until I got to looking at them today. But you can see, again, basic 3-ring binder covered with material. This one has doggies on it. And then we added some embellishments. We're going to do the inside. You can use contrasting fabrics, or you can have a coordinating fabric, or you can just use the same material, which is what I'm going to do today to show you. Okay. And so like I said, this one, no tie. This one, the horsey one with some additional trim. And you can see we've just added a ribbon closure to keep it shut. Sometimes when we cover them, they don't always want to close like we would like them to. So that's an extra little thing that we can do. So I have some ribbon to embellish and add to that when I kind of see how it's coming together and how I want to lay it out. So it's a pretty simple process. I have hot glue. I have some spray glue, which is going to be a great tip if you want to cover and make one of these. Something that way back in the day, I used to make these a lot, wedding gifts, baby gifts, things like that. And it was something that I didn't really know about spray glue. And so it's a huge help in just holding everything together so that you can finish the process. So one of the things that I like to do with these, like I said, is think about, okay, if I'm going to give this as a gift, am I going to keep it for me? Are there certain types of embellishments or things I'm going to want to add to go along with the ribbons? Next week, we're going to talk a lot about the embellishments and types of things that you can get and use to do scrapbooking specifically. Today, I just have some of these great little wooden cutouts. If you can see, that's a horseshoe. This one's a little clover. Now you can paint these. You can do lots of paint pens or markers or however you want to decorate that. I like this natural wood color. Kind of goes with my neutral theme and what I want to add to. So I'm going to hold on to those and decide here in a minute if we're going to put those on. So basically you're going to cut your material so that it fits your book. You want it to be a little bigger than your notebook, okay, at least 1/8 of an inch, and I would say closer to 1/2 to an inch, only because some of us, when we get ready to hot glue, we have a tendency to stick our fingers in it and get burned. So we want to make sure we have enough area to meet up with that glue. Okay, so it's pretty simple. We're going to spray a light coating of that spray glue and then lay our material all across there so that it's flat and it's held in place. And that's going to give me the opportunity when I lay it back open and get ready to lay my edges down, I don't have to worry about this bunching up or not being stretched out or not covering. The whole time that we are covering and working with this, we are going to be opening and closing this notebook to make sure that we've given it enough to open and close and to not be too tight either direction where it won't shut, or where you can't open it to actually look at the contents that you're going to add to it. So one of the things I did find, this notebook you can see has the little clear cover for the pockets. That was hard to cover and get my material to lay how I wanted it. So this is just a little sharp cutter, just a craft cutter, and then I'm going to use that to maybe just slice that. And you might, depending on the age of your notebook and how it was put together, be able to just reach in there and pull it out. Sometimes that works, but I'm just going to go ahead and you can see there's a little crease in my notebook now. That's okay because we're going to cover all of that up. This is just going to be trash. We're going to get rid of that. And then we're ready to go ahead and cover the notebook itself. So one of the things that I know some people struggle with, what do we do with the section that's going to show around our rings? And you can see a lot of binders now have the offset rings, so they're not right in the middle. So on this one, what we did was we just took a little bit of spare fabric and laid that in there and glued it down. And then when we laid over all of our edges, it covered that up, but it covered that piece of notebook. So it just depends on how your notebook's made, and it depends on what bothers you. If you want everything absolutely square and straight and perfect, then you're going to take the time to cut and measure and do all of that. If you just, oh, you know what, it's going to be pretty because we're going to cover up a lot of these raw edges and all these extra things, and so you know that you can kind of eyeball it and get it in the right spot. So the fun thing about these types of crafts and being able to reuse items is you can really personalize it to your personality and how you want to do the craft. Some people will spend days just getting it all lined up and perfect and completely straight, and others we just want to get it done and it's going to look great. So those things are all okay. So one of the things that you can do, if we just take, you can see here, I just cut a little notch, and I'm going to tuck these edges just right up here all the way in under my rings so that it's across the top. And that's going to work pretty well. You're going to make sure you have plenty of hot glue because it may take quite a bit to get around. And so then, like I said, it's got the spray glue on the front, so I know my front is held like it needs to be. And I'm just going to glue those edges. And so typically I like to do the top and bottom, and then I'm going to tuck my corners, and you don't want too much bulk, so I may need to trim a little of this extra bulk off and add a little more glue, whatever it takes to make those corners lay down. That's what we're going to want to do. So we're going to do that all the way around so that my entire book is covered. Okay, and you can see open and close, all of the good things that I want it to do. So now we have kind of this ugly space on the inside that just looks unfinished. So how are we going to finish it off? This is where our poster board's going to come in. So again, I've taken the poster board, I've cut it so that it's going to fit to cover those edges. But again, I probably don't want just a plain piece of black poster board. So how I address that is I cut a piece, again, eighth to a quarter to a half inch bigger than what this is going to be. Okay, a light coating of spray glue, smooth it out on there, nice and smooth. Lay it down so that I've got the back, my corners are done. Again, I don't want too much bulk because I don't want it to pop way out, but I'm gonna make sure it's on there, and then I'm just gonna lay that over my finished edges. And there's a couple things, I can just get as close to this binder piece as I can, or again, I can pull this enough to just give it a little tuck to slide it under there. If you do that, depending on how thick your poster board and your fabric are, again, you're gonna wanna make sure that you can get enough oomph to curve it and lay that over, okay? So then we will just use our hot glue. Okay, again, it may take quite a bit. We're gonna make sure we get all of these edges in, and we're gonna get a nice finished inside for our album. Once you've done that, you can be finished, or you can add a few more things. If you do want a ribbon tie to tie it shut, now's the time to add that before we put this piece in, so that again, it's tucked under, you don't have that edge sticking out, you're not seeing all your glue and all of that good stuff. So we would add that and then go ahead and close it. So I'm gonna try to tuck some things in here without finishing it all off. So now I have a covered album. I can put page protectors, I can put scrapbook pages I finished. You can actually purchase the pages that hold the photos that are sleeves for all of the photos. I'm going to remind you, and we're going to talk a lot about this next time, you want to look for non-acid and archival safe products that are going to keep your photos safe so that things aren't going to fade, that they're not going to just kind of eat away. You know, we've all got those old-timey photos and things that they just don't look as good as they used to, and it's because we didn't know to preserve them. So so then to do the front, you can decide, again, I've got ribbon, I've got some different embellishments that I want to add. I had this great burlap ribbon with some 4-leaf clovers on it, which we do of course for a lot of our 4-H stuff. And so I took a piece of the poster board and I just made a little frame. So it's about 4 by 6 in here, about 5 by 7 around the outside. So sorry, 6 by 8 because it's an inch on each side. So I've cut that out. You can do an oval, you can do whatever shape, whatever kind of thing you want. And we're gonna attach this to the front of the album. That's going to just give it a little something extra. I'm gonna leave the top open so that we can insert. Now, if you know what photo you want to put in here and how you want it to look, you're gonna, you can go ahead and do that before you ever put it on. I'm not sure. So what I'm gonna wanna do is leave the top open, just like if you purchased one in the store, it would have an opening where you could insert that photo. Or if I wanted to put a quote or something, however I wanted to dress that up. Okay, but again, pretty simple. But now I have a frame right there in the front. Again, if you're that real precise, want to measure, make sure it's exactly equal all the way around, you can do that. I just kind of eyeballed it and put it on there. Then I can take my embellishments and put them on. So if I wanted to go around the frame with my, I can't find my scissors, with my ribbon, and just say, okay, I want it to fit just like that. To give it that little pop of a green color. I might go all the way around. I might just do across the bottom. And then I can add, oops, jumped off of there. Okay, I can add my embellishments if I wanted to put a clover. Again, my kids show horses, so we do a lot of horsey things. So I might stick my little, just put on my horseshoes up there at the top. Okay, but so again, cute, simple. You can do this within an hour once you have all your supplies gathered up and ready to go. And a lot of these things you may already have around the house, or they're pretty easy to pick up here and there. The thrift store a lot of times will even have binders or notebooks if you don't have those somewhere that you can come across garage sales, because you're going to cover them up so they don't have to be pretty and fancy and brand new. So this is one way. that we can make a gift. Like I said, it's kind of relaxing, kind of fun. Get it put together. You have something nice to keep for you, give to someone else, pass on as encouragement, and save some of those precious memories for yourself. I'm Mindy Turner with the Curry County Cooperative Extension Service. I hope you will join us back here next time as we talk more about how to preserve some of your memories.